Party has a governorship candidate for the Edo elections. This is great news. But what is happening to the Labour Party? Was it truly a special purpose vehicle, as Don Kupe said? And is it running out of gas? What is going to happen with the NLC, the Labour Party chairman, and the party's future? Well, my guest's future ambition to be governor of Edo State rests on the shoulders of the Labour Party, and is here to tell us what his plans are and how he hopes to achieve them given current political realities in his party. Hello and welcome to Political Paradigm on Channels Television. I am Kayla Megwa. My guest on the program today is Olumide Osaigbovo Akpata. Born October the 7th in 1972, he hails from Edo South Senatorial District in Edo State. He's a Nigerian legal practitioner and politician. He was a senior partner and the head of the corporate and commercial practice group at Templars Law Firm in Nigeria until his resignation in the 31st of August in 2023 to enable him to pursue partisan politics. He became the first non-senior advocate of Nigeria in 28 years to be elected president of the Nigerian Bar Association in July of 2020. Mr. Akpata, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you, Kayla. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I accept.
On getting the tickets of your party.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
There are some issues that have come up right now, and we heard very sadly, that a lot of the things that have been happening in the Labour Party were not as they were supposed to. Let's start with something pretty obvious. With the party, with the tickets for you to be able to run, were you charged for it? Because what we've heard is that they're supposed to collect a stipend and not actually charge you for that.
Well, I wasn't charged for the ticket. That one I obtained through a primaries process, right? But like other parties, the Labour Party charged a fee for the expression of interest and nomination forms. In our case, it was 25 million naira for the nomination form and 5 million naira for the expression of interest form. Yes, there were quite a few who thought in the Labour Party that was kind of steep. That was a high, the fee was rather high. And I was one of those, so about 18 of us aspirants at the time, we wrote to the party chairman asking him to reconsider that number. And many believe that it just ran against the ethos, the essence of the Labour Party to essentially price a few people out of the game. Similar scenario in Bayelsa when we had our primaries, and there was that push, and the party yielded at that time and reduced the fee from 20 to 15 or 20 to 10. I think there was some reduction in Bayelsa, but in the Edo case, in spite of our appeals and our requests in this regard, the party did not budge, and the party insisted on going ahead with this 25 million naira for the form, for nomination form, and 5 million naira for the expression of interest form. I know that for the female aspirants, there was some concession given to them. I think they didn't have to pay for the EOI form, and then they got some kind of rebate for the nomination form. But all in was considered a high number, a high figure to pay.
Because that is what the contention is, the idea of the Labour Party. And we're hearing this, interestingly, from the NLC. It was a bit of an education for us as a country in the past few days, the fact that the Labour Party, because when we saw the NLC picketing in front of the Labour Party in Abuja, everyone thought, what has the NLC got to do with the Labour Party? We didn't know. We didn't know that one belonged to the other. In fact, that's a term they're using, that the Labour Party belongs to the NLC. I want to be able to get your some sort of clarification on what that means legally. Did you know this, and is it something real?
I would hesitate to use the word belong. I would hesitate to use the word belong. I'm a lawyer. I have looked at the constitutional documents of the party. I know that the NLC under the leadership of Comrade, now Senator Adams Oshomole, right? The charter documents for the Labour Party have his signature, because he was president at the time, that the NLC is or was one of the promoters of the party is not in doubt. It was actually, the party was called something else, and then they eventually changed the name to Labour Party. So I would say that the NLC is definitely a principal stakeholder in the affairs of the Labour Party. I hesitate to say that a political party belongs to one or a group of people. A political party belongs to its members. Yeah, and the NLC, having been part of the those who form the party, are a group of stakeholders that cannot, under any circumstances, be ignored. And I know that before my emergence as a member of the party, that these issues have been dealt with by a competent court of law. And they had what you would call terms of settlement between the NLC and those who were superintending the affairs of the party at the time, where they agreed to some kind of rapprochement and some kind of middle-of-the-road approach as to how issues concerning the party ought to be dealt with. So positions in the National Working Committee of the party were ceded to the NLC, one deputy president, and to the TUC, yeah, another deputy president. And so I am told, again, this is all reported because I wasn't a member of the party at the time, I am told that it is on the basis of this terms of settlement, which was actually entered into as the judgment of that court, that the two parties have continued to move along, right, trying to find common ground. And having spoken to the NLC, some members of the NLC, my understanding is that they are dissatisfied with the fact that the terms of those terms of settlement have not been followed through by the Labour Party. So they are now calling for the Labour Party to come back to the table to discuss ways and means of ensuring that this party, of which they are a key stakeholder, is being run, to ensure that it is being run in a manner that is acceptable to all stakeholders. This is the bone of contention. So, and then it so happens that at this time, when the NLC is quarreling with the state of affairs, a convention is being planned by the party. So I guess from their own point of view is insult upon injury, or it's like rubbing salt on an open wound, from their own perspective. So that is the state of play as we speak, where you have the party and its leadership proceeding with a convention, and the NLC saying, listen, there are issues that we need to deal with at the moment. For me, if you ask my opinion, I like to follow the rules. You really can't go wrong when you stick to the agreements, the documents, the charter documents. So whatever is being done, I will counsel both sides to ensure that we follow the rules. What does the Constitution of the Labour Party say? With respect to any issue, we fall back to the Constitution, which is the ground norm in any organization. Let us fall back to the provisions of that document. It will help us steer our ship, or the ship of the party, away from troubled waters. And not, hopefully, I pray that we don't hit some iceberg in the course of all of this backing and forthing over who owns what. You know, I just believe we should go back to the Constitution and decide that we will abide by its provisions. I think that would essentially, it will lead us, it will help us find our way home, as it were. So that's where I stand.
There are calls from the Nigerian Labour Congress for Mr. Guber, who is national chairman of the party, to resign. What do you make of those calls? Well,
you know, I think some of these calls have come out as a result of disaffection, dissatisfaction. They've come out as a result of people being totally unhappy with the state of affairs. So I am sure if, as I have advised, I have counseled, that both parties go back to the drawing board, look at the Constitution, and deal with the issues as, I admit that the Constitution does not cover all circumstances or scenarios, but in the main you will find a solution in the document. I think at that point you will find out that swords will be sheathed, and this calls for resignation may no longer be front burner, because they have called for him to resign because, at least from what I have read, because they are quite unhappy or dissatisfied with the way he has conducted certain aspects of the party affairs, including this call for a convention. So I am sure if Mr. Abure and his team sit with the NLC to try to deal with the issues at hand, you will find that those calls will recede. That is my own suspicion, that that those calls may not be as strident as they are at the moment.
If he comes to the table for this.
This is my job. I'm a lawyer. So it's negotiation is critical. The people have to talk to each other and find some kind of a middle of the road approach. Otherwise, we're just going to be shouting at ourselves, and not much will come out of that.
This financial impropriety, so to speak, that has been leveled against Julius Abure and, of course, the leadership of the Labour Party. It was pretty disappointing from a Nigerian's standpoint, because I've said this before, there were so many expectations of the Labour Party, especially with a man like Peter Obi as the presidential candidate. Everyone figured, okay, so we have a third force. We can't be muscled into a two-party system in Nigeria. We have another party that has promised accountability to the people. But that accountability came into question when it came to campaign funding and things like that. What do you make of that impact? Of course, we saw Mr. Peter Obi explain his side of the story. I had nothing to do with this. I also gave funding to the party, for this campaign. But all of these things have called to question a lot of, the credibility of the party in itself. What do you make of that scenario when it comes to the financial impropriety, issues that have been leveled against the leadership of the Labour Party?
Maybe because of my training, I am not going to rush into judgment, and I counsel Nigerians not to rush to judgment and give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And I'm also going to say, are we going to walk away from the Labour Party because one individual or two have been accused of certain crimes, or certain allegations have been leveled against a couple of individuals? Is that enough to now turn our backs on a dream, to turn our backs on that hope, that vehicle that we know can really take us out of the doldrums that we are in today as a country? I don't think so. That is too easy. That would be giving up too easy. That would be playing out the script that has been written by probably those who don't want to see us come out of our issues. Now, that is not to say that I am passing, I'm issuing a clean bill of health on anybody. I can't do that. I can't. And so I watched, like everybody else, the allegations leveled by Ms. Akpata, the now suspended national treasurer of the Labour Party, and I was aghast, like many other Nigerians, that if even only one of these allegations turn out to be true, that would be utterly, utterly heartbreaking. But the if remains the if. It is. You can allege as much as you like, but he who alleges must prove. And so it is important that the leaders of the party ensure that none of this is swept under the carpet. That I will not put my name to. I will not accept a situation where allegations that are as significant as these are swept under the carpet. No, because it will rub off very badly on the party if we allow, just as you have said, disappointment, disenchantment. People are unhappy just even hearing. So we must take it upon ourselves as a party to go the extra mile to show either that this is not correct, these allegations are not correct, or if they turn out to be true, to ensure that anybody, no matter how highly placed, who is found wanting, who is found culpable, will be brought to book. You know what I mean? So I don't think we can tar everybody with the same brush and say Labour Party, oh, they're just like the others. I think that would be most unfair. Instead, it is incumbent on the leaders of the party. It is incumbent on those who are stakeholders, those who we see as the face of the party, to do more to allay the fears of the people who have put all their hopes on the party, to say, offense must come, as they say, as it said in the Bible, but woe unto whom offense cometh. So it is not to say that we expect that things will always be hunky-dory and there will be no infractions here. And they were human. It's a human organization. Foibles and frailties come with the territory. So what is most important is to ensure that there's a mechanism in place, or there are mechanisms in place, to hold anybody accountable if indeed any of these allegations are found to be true. Labour Party is strong. I just came out of a process in Edo State primaries. I went around the state, 18 local governments, 3 times. The people are looking up to the Labour Party. They're ready to support us. They're simply asking, when we vote for you, will our votes count? Will you help us protect our votes? The people, it's the party of the people.
I want to get to your manifesto and what's going to be happening there. But I also, before that, I hate hypotheticals, but just hypothetically, let's say you were the national chairman of the Labour Party. With everything going on, would you resign?
If I were chairman of the Labour Party today, I will strive so hard to clear my name.
Do you think Julius Abure is doing enough to clear his name as it is?
I'm not in any position to give him advice, but you asked me a hypothetical question, and I think it's a very important question you asked me. I am not one of those who believe in resignation in the face of every accusation. I think it's most unfair. I am not one of those. I've held high office. And I'm saying to myself, when I was president of the bar, and somebody gets up and says, Olu pilfered, Olu fiddled with the funds, would I just simply say, oh, I'm resigning? I'm not going to say to one man to do what I won't do. I may not resign, or I may not have resigned. I will do everything. Lee Kuan Yew, when he was Prime Minister of Singapore, he went to court any allegation, he went to court. Any allegation. Because his name was important to him. So if I were chairman of the Labour Party and a person so highly placed as the national treasurer gets up to tell the world that I have fiddled with the funds, I will be in court the next day. Because he who alleges must prove. So it is incumbent on that treasurer to prove all that she has said. I will go to the proper forum and say, my lord, my reputation is being besmirched, and my name is all I have. I will sue. And then whoever is alleging will come to court. That would be my own prescription.
Do you think any of this is going to affect your push to be governor of Edo State? Do you think any of this will affect how voters see you and the party? And you know, it actually brings me to a concept that, you know, many Nigerians are dealing with. I had to deal with that concept today. Talking to somebody who I know was a very strong supporter of the Labour Party. And I said, oh, how do you feel about what's going on with your party? He said, I don't have anything to do with this party. I am a Peter Obi supporter. Mm-hmm. So in many ways, we see that there are Labour Party people and then there are Peter Obi people.
Obedience.
So is there some kind of coming together of these two, or are we just dealing with people who will follow Peter Obi wherever he goes? Because what that means is that in the next election, if Peter Obi chooses to go with another political party, those obedients would follow him, and the Labour Party will be left without them and him. What do you make of that? And where are you on this? Are you an obedient, or are you a Labour Party man, or are you both?
Okay, so let's start with your first question, which is, what do I think about the goings on and how it will affect or could affect my own chances as a... So there is definitely the possibility that all of this can boomerang and affect all of us. We're in the same canoe as it were. And definitely, if we're in turbulent waters at the moment, and the canoe could capsize, and all of us passengers could find ourselves in drinking more water than we actually can consume, right? So definitely, I am interested. I am very keen to see that we resolve the issues. Yeah, there is the dichotomy. There's definitely a difference between the Labour Party and obedience. There's no doubt about that. But they are partners in progress, natural partners in the Project Nigeria. And it is in their own self-interest, their enlightened self-interest, that both groups come together, embrace themselves. They worked together on a project, 2023, almost got the prize, but the rest, as they say, is history. It is incumbent on both groups to sit down and fashion out ways and means by which they can move on to the next challenge. They both need each other, right? They both need each other, and it would not work for each one to sit on the other side of the fence and say, we are this and you are that. Then the strength that comes with numbers and the strength that comes with scale, they lose. And they have, I think, it is a very, very lethal combination. The Labour Party, the party of the people, the party that has the Nigerian Labour Congress behind it, a lethal combination. And the people, the obedient movement, the young people. And I must very quickly add that it goes beyond any individual. 20th of October 2020, End SARS movement, right? From then on, a group of young Nigerians have realized the power that they have to change the fortunes of Nigeria. That is where I take my bearing from. And thereafter, the Peter Obi phenomenon, and then the Labour Party, how Labour Party became part of that mix. It is such a force for good that I think it would be sad, it would be tragic if we don't see the potential and we let petty squabbles get in the way and everybody now says, oh, to your tents, oh, Israel. So it's a problem for me that they can't see this. The obedience. You can't stand aloof forever or stand back and say, no, we are not, we're only here, it's just a partnership of convenience. No. It's like a marriage. You must show that you are here for the long haul. You know what I mean? So I think the obedience should, the suspicion on the part of the Labour Party is that you guys are not showing that we are together. And you hear that from the utterances of the obedience. We are not Labour Party. How does that make your partner feel? You know what I mean? So I think it's important that we find that point, that sweet spot where you say, we are together for this. And many of them, I think, should jump off the fence, the obedience, join the party. Join the party. You ask me if I'm an obedient. I am an obedient. And for me, being an obedient is a mindset issue. You know, so I hesitate. Labels are very, very difficult for me to accept labels, but it's a mindset issue. We are poised to ensure that the trajectory of our country, we change the course of travel. And today, that partnership between the obedience and Labour Party, that is the veritable platform upon which we can achieve this desire. And out of our own enlightened self-interest, we should come together, sit together, and work it out. So, can two ever work together except they agree? If that agreement is missing, and one is saying to the other, you are me, but you know, it won't work. So those of us who are later day members of the party, we recognize if you don't dip you can't, you can't swim if you don't get into the water. You know what I mean? So I don't think it will be counterproductive. It will be counterproductive if we are at arm's length and say, okay, you know, you are there and I'm here. Then we'll never get to where we want to get to.
Let's talk a bit about the Edo elections and what your plans are. Something happened recently. I was at the Belgian embassy, and a government official had come from Belgium and with the ambassador, and we're having this conversation. The media was there, and he talked about how there was going to be some awareness program that they had to carry out in Edo State. And the reason why they were carrying out that awareness program was because in their country, the highest number, according to their figures, the highest number of people being trafficked, human trafficking, and the ones that have been caught in the act of commercial sex work in their country who are doing it illegally were Nigerians. And that all of these, almost all, they said, almost all these Nigerians were from Edo State. So they said they were going to start up some kind of awareness program where they would go to Edo State and, you know, talk to people about the evils of human trafficking and how this is a slight on the people. With your drive to become governor, what are some of the things that you're looking at? And is this one of them? The commercial sex work issue with human trafficking. And then, of course, there's the Yahoo problem that we keep hearing about in Edo State. Are these some of the things that you're going to be looking at? And just walk us through what we should be expecting if you are able to make it to Government House in Edo State.
When?
When? Okay.
Allow me to be confident.
Yes.
Yeah. I speak a lot of Pidgin. I think in Pidgin before I translate into English in my head. So I remember that our people talk, say, now war went for and I make goat climber. Or, now condition I'm bend crayfish back. I'm sure you're familiar with these idioms of our people. Or I'll give you another one. Now hot water when Gary seen and turn to Eba. So
I don't know that one.
Well,
I need the first two.
The first two I have, so I just thought I should drive home the point. So we are where we are. The Belgians, what the Belgians are dealing with today, the Italians have been trying to sort out for many years. Indeed, my royal father, the Oba of Benin, Omodoba Nedo Akpata, Ewari II, was Nigeria's ambassador to Italy for many years. And so I know all that he did as our ambassador to ensure that this narrative was reversed and that to ensure that this slur on us as a people was erased. And he continues to do that even till now as king. Then he was crown prince. So we have a situation on our hands where the people find themselves with very little options, nothing to do at home. And I think that brings us back to governance. That brings us back to why Labour Party is here. Our logo is Papa, Mama, Pikin. No coincidence. People-centered, people-focused, people-centric priorities and policies. So, what has happened? Where did this all happen? The land of Samuel Ogbamudia, the land of Ambrose Ali. I grew up in Bendel State. I went free education. I've never schooled out of Nigeria, outside Nigeria, by the way. That was the Edo State. That was Bendel State. The land of Sebastian Broderick's our football coach. The land of Agbonabare. Edo was known for football. It was known for sports, football, media. The land of John Momo, right? So you now ask yourself, where did we take this turn south? The people are left with very little options. So they are easy prey to those who have very negative intentions. So a government of the Labour Party will definitely go to the root causes. How do you engage the people? If we stop paying lip service to just agriculture alone, which can be the largest employer of labor. Firstly, what do? You employ people. When you pay, you focus on agriculture, and we are blessed with fantastic arable land. Though if you focus on agriculture, you improve the economy of the farmer. And it is across the value chain, not just farming. You do value-added services across the chain. You ensure that there's roads from the farm so that they can get from farm to market, so that their goods will easily be sold. Indeed, you set yourself up as government as an off-taker so that you give a guarantee to them that their produce will be taken off them, they will be paid, they can go back to the farms. You set up agro parks where this produce, mango, pineapple, whatever, you can make juice, you can do tomato puree there. You are employing people. So that girl who lived in Abudu and was trafficked out of Abudu straight to Bologna in Italy, she had options. It's a very thin line between man and animal. When the ability to feed yourself or feed your family is now threatened, you're not rational in the choices you make. Look at Nigeria. And by the way, I refuse to allow this issue to just be centered on Edo State. The problem is much larger. It covers a larger space. Food trucks are being attacked in our country now. Haiti comes to mind when I think about where we could get to if we don't stem the tide. Food trucks are being attacked because people are hungry. So you mentioned the Yahoo Boy syndrome. Let me even stretch it to cultism. These are issues that we are confronted by in Edo State. Trafficking of our girls, Yahoo boys plus cultism, hydra-headed monsters. How do you deal with that? There must be outlets for ventilation. Not every kid is going to get to the university. That's the reality. You have to ask. It was Mrs. Obios Ezekwesili who opened my eyes to this when she was Minister of Education. X number of people took JAM, and the following passed. Nobody remembers the ones who went not pass. The ones who went not pass, what happened to them? Where did they go? They fell off the wagon, right? Where did they go? What did they do? There's this bottleneck. Everybody wants to get to university. What of those who don't make it to university? What do they do? When I was in school, we had cultism. I went to the University of Benin, yes. We had cultism. But cultism ended at the gate of the university. Once you don't graduate, forgive me, I speak pidgin a lot. Once you're done with university, there are opportunities. At least when I graduated in 1992, there were still opportunities to go and look for a job. If you're ready to work hard, of course. But now, cultism, even those who graduated from university 10 years ago are still cultists in town. Readily available for politicians to use for their nefarious activities. Politicians who won't let their children do that kind of rubbish, but they use other people's kids. They are available as thugs, ballot paper snatchers, and so on and so forth. So as a government, a Labour Party government will deal with the root causes. We must, number one, give opportunities for employment. I mentioned agriculture. I can also mention the entertainment industry, right? Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos is trying to build a film village with Linus Idahosa. I'm sure you may have heard of that project. Do you know how many people will be employed? You know the entertainment value chain just by virtue of the job you do. There are so many opportunities for job creation across that value chain. If it's just concerts alone, how many jobs can be created just by concerts? When concerts come, I have my friend Eddie Lawani. He's into sound. He's from Edo State, by the way. He does just sound for big concerts and all that. There are those who do just the what's it called now? The technicals. Just ensuring that, of course, you know that a Davido concert is if the sound goes, concert is over, right? Lighting. The lights don't just come on in your studio or on the concert grounds. People are trained to do those jobs. People are trained. How about we gather and our young people gravitate towards the entertainment industry naturally? They would love to be part of that story. The video producers who video the concerts, content creators. There's so many things. Vision mixers.
The person who does the truss, the wiring, the trunking of wiring.
You know it better than I do.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. But I don't know that my government in Edo State today, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, if we are deliberately and intentionally, just harnessing the human resource that we have available in the state to say, okay, try and channel them in these directions. You would deal with the problem. You may not deal with all of it, but you would deal with the problem. And then, those who want to even go, the Andrews who want to check out by force, who just want to go to the abroad, how about you try and regulate that space? I hope you know that the Filipinos exporting their people is their people exports is a large chunk of their foreign revenue earnings, or it constitutes that. The highest, in the oil and gas industry, the Filipinos are known as the best welders, underwater welders. You also know that I'm sure you have gone to many homes where you see Filipino child carers, au pairs, right? In Nigeria here, in England, everywhere you see Filipinos. Why is it only Filipinos that we always hear about? I go to my friend's house, I see 2 Filipino girls taking care of their children. There's something, there must be something they're doing right. And the Filipino government, they monitor, they regulate that space because they tax them. So the country makes a lot of money from the taxes they get from these people.
So if we regulate
you want to travel.
The space of
yes.
people who want to leave the country.
What are you going to do there? Okay. You want to travel.
Find out what jobs are prevalent among the people who are going.
What skills do they have so that they can... Au pairs, people want au pairs. Do you know that there are many Nigerian families abroad who would rather have a Nigerian come from home? You speak Bini. Come, when you are looking after my kids, at least teach them Bini, because this my son or daughter growing up in New York City probably will never learn Bini, the Bini language. So if we have an agency, we have in Bini, we call it Ogonwadia, just a child carer, right? The one who comes to stay with you to look after your child. If we organize ourselves and say, we have an agency here, because the people out there want some kind of guarantee that you're not bringing some whoever to my home to look after my children. So you kind of organize that space and say, there are many families abroad. Those ones will make a commitment. Yes, she will go to school. Yes, I will make sure she gets, she's well taken care of. Her salary will be remitted. She will have some here in New York. The rest will be taken back home. I will pay my tax. I will make sure she pays her tax. I'm just thinking out aloud. Is this not doable? Because my people travel. The Bini people travel. The Ghanaians travel, even more than us Nigerians. But we don't hear of all of this negativity around the Ghanaians who they're very itinerant. So if my people like to travel, the Bini people or the Edo people, we can organize that space better, I think. Again, one attribute of leadership, I think, is empathy and compassion. So I'm not going to just, in one broad stroke, just say, they are bad people, they are horrible people, they go and give Edo a bad name. That's something they call something. You have to sit down and ask them, what is wrong? How can we help? The first time I watched the documentary of how our people go through Agadez, through Niger, right? Get on the Sahara Desert, get on some funny dingy boat, and then find their way to Spain or somewhere. Before person, you go on that kind of journey, there must be a certain level of desperation that you and I have never encountered.
Poverty, you've identified as the root cause of a lot of these things. So what other areas, would you be looking at empowering your people as governor to lift them out of poverty? Especially with the situation that we have right now. These are not normal times. We're in a peculiar situation at this point in time. A lot of people are focusing on palliatives. We're seeing state governors right now doing everything. Even the FCT rolled out a few compressed natural gas buses. We also saw that in some states across the country, trying to see how we can alleviate the suffering of the people in the short term while we work on long-term solutions. If you become governor, and I know you're going to shout when, if you become governor.
You still haven't gotten the memo.
Yes. I'm still working on that email. But entering that government house in 2024, you are right smack in the middle of this crisis. What are some of are you going to be looking at short-term solutions before you go into long-term ones? What are you going to be doing to ensure that people don't steal all the food in the State House that day?
So I tend not to want to play to the gallery. I tend not to, this papering over the cracks or band-aid attempts at solutions. I run away from them. I look for sustainability. But you're right. I recognize that just to eat has become a challenge. So any government that has compassion or empathy would have to address in the immediate term how to ensure that food gets to the people, either cost-free, which is a big ask, or really, really discounted rates. I saw on television, it was on channels, that Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos has set up this Ounje
Sunday market
thing.
25% off.
Which is not a bad deal, right? I saw that. I was tempted to pick up my basket and run to the closest store, the location closest to me. And I was like, okay, this is a start. I saw on your program that they were having some teething problems but like with every good fits and starts, and then I'm sure they will get it right. So there's no doubt about that they will have to do stuff like that. Soup kitchens have to come back.
Soup kitchens?
Soup kitchens have to come back.
Did we have them in the past?
Oh, yeah. I mean, in those days, a lot of politicians, I remember Lucky Gbenedion, the Gbenedion family, they set up soup kitchens when I was much younger. You know, when I say soup kitchens, in other countries, you have food stamps, right? You give people food stamps because, like it or not, just to eat has become an existential, it's an issue that is existential.
So you're going to bring back soup kitchens?
I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking. So don't hold me to...
Because I would start
we're just simply saying food is an issue. So I'm thinking to myself and saying, yeah, we may have to set up soup kitchens, right? And promise people a meal a day. It's not going to be something that you would do for eternity, because in all of this kind of interventionist programs, there must be a sunset clause. There must be an end. That's not sustainable.
It's a palliative.
Right? Palliative. So there's no doubt in my mind that we have to think of those short-term fixes. However, midterm, you know, I'm looking at agriculture, and I'm saying, what do we do to quickly ramp up? I sat down with a former Minister of Agriculture who just said to me that he's so unhappy. He's a big-time farmer now. And he says, government is just not doing enough. We can feed ourselves. Government is not doing enough. And so I said to him, sir, you're going to have to work with me. How are we going to ensure? And he gave me a few tips, you know, and how we can... Government can even help the farmers earn forex. In Kenya, they export flowers from Kenya every day to the flower market in London. They export flowers. Somebody said to me, do you know that DHL comes to Nigeria with their big cargo planes to deliver mail, and they have to put sandbags in the planes to go back because there's nothing coming out of Nigeria, no exports. Cargo planes come in to deliver meals because the plane needs some kind of balance, right? So they put sandbags to help because we're not exporting anything. So if we organize our farmers in such a way that you can ensure that, you take their produce, freeze them properly, store them properly, and overnight you get them into the vegetable market in London the next day or in Amsterdam or whatever, and you're helping them sell, or you as government, you've already paid for it. You can now unsell, you know. And then when we have food produced in significant quantities, then you are going to, like Governor Sanwo-Olu is doing now, you are going to mandate that the local population are allowed to buy at a certain discount. I would love 50%. I would even say a certain group. The elderly, over 65, you are entitled to so much. Just come pick it up and go. You know what I mean? Or the young, or whatever. So those kind of things need to be done. It's palliative, it's short-term, but it's also helping the economy of the farmer, right? And as I mentioned earlier, it's also providing jobs for the younger people. I would rather think in those terms. But I recognize that I must be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. So we must think short-term and say, okay, how do we get food to the people now? Organize it properly, no stampedes, nobody is taking more than their own just due and stuff like that. But if I have passed any message on to you today, I want you to understand that I am about the people. Me and my party, we're about the people. So if there's any solution that is available out there that would impact on the people, you can rest assured I will spend every waking moment of my day in Government House to say whatever will benefit the largest number of the people is what I'm going to do.
I'm thinking about internally generated revenue from Edo State. What would you export?
Yeah, so I don't know if you know much about my state. You know, we have oil palm in abundance. We have rubber in abundance. We just haven't tilled it. We haven't worked the soil enough. There's so much. We are the largest producer. We have the largest gas deposits in this country, in Orion local government area. The local government, the capital is Abudu. You may have heard of the town Abudu. So I think there's so much that we can do with regard to exporting. I just talked about agriculture now, right? It is something that my team are looking at now. The manifesto is being worked and reworked. You understand? Indeed, we just decided a couple of days ago that we're going to leave a blank spot or blank portion of our manifesto, and we're going to upload the document. And we want the people to send to us. We're not just. I don't want to just shove my manifesto down the throats of the people. Yeah, we have stuff that we've thought about, but what are they thinking?
One of the biggest stories in the country right now has to do with budget padding, the conversation as to whether this happens or not. We've heard from many people say this has been going on for as long as there's democracy, but with Senator Ningi's suspension, it's brought a lot of the conversation to our minds. And it's such a strange dynamic for anybody who wants to look at this country and say, we want Nigeria to move forward. The idea that this can be going on. What do you make of the whole situation with budget padding? We've understood, they've explained to us how where the budget comes from and how the aberration happens and how. Is this something that can be stopped? Is it something that Nigerians can demand accountability from?
So, you see, just like you, my ear don't fool, right? I am distraught by what I hear from the National Assembly. And I had made a mental note that I will call on my senators, the Labour Party senators. The senator from my senatorial zone is of the Labour Party, Senator Neda Emaswen. You had Ireti Kingebe on your program a couple of weeks ago. She's someone I know. So I want to actually call her and say, can you explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old, Just make it idiot-proof, just tell me what exactly is going on, And for me, I am so, if I were a senator today, they would kick me out. They would drive me from 3 months suspension. They would drive me if I were a senator, because I can't do this. It's not possible. I can't get it. I don't get it. Now, I read in the papers the other day that the Senate President got 90 billion. Now, you can't believe everything you read. So I'm like, can this be true? Then Senator, the Cross River Senator, I forget his name now, who stood up to say, you got 500 now. Some others did not get. And I'm thinking, okay, what exactly is going on here?
What are they talking about?
What are they talking about? You got 500. Jarigbe is his name.
Is the money for the people?
That's what I'm saying. So can you please explain this to me? Which 500 are you talking about? Was it cash given to you? Or can you explain, is it 500 million naira worth of projects? Who is monitoring the projects? What exactly is happening? How contractor selection? Because in the world that we live in today, communication is everything. You understand? So I don't want to rush to judgment, but I think it's incumbent on the National Assembly, through their communication managers, to come and let us understand what exactly. Don't tell me off the mic. Right? It is, you are representing us. What is all this? This one got 1 billion, budget came like this, but Ningi said, he has backtracked a bit on a number of issues, but the core of his message remains that there is a discrepancy of some sort, right? And then budget. Budget came, I don't know if you read their report, I looked at the report and they were saying that it's bad budgetary practice because they quickly ran, those who were defending or pushing back after Ningi came, now say, no, he's wrong, that the budget is complete, there's no problem, just that judiciary figure is not there, FCT figure is not there. They called another head of expenditure, and I'm like, budget said that's bad budgetary practice. Which one is not there? You know, it's so opaque. You know, it's so opaque. And, you know, once you allow for opacity in issues of this nature, pecuniary matters of this nature, you leave room for all sorts of speculation, all sorts of conspiracy theorizing, and all of that. It's bad for the polity.
Why did you move from practicing law to politics?
Out of my enlightened self-interest, I was called to the bar on the 15th of December, 1993. So I'm 30 years as a lawyer. I was trained by Dr. Mudiaga Oje, senior advocate of Nigeria, one of the best lawyers. I actually was a litigator initially, and then I crossed over. I have been a commercial lawyer for over 25 years, right? With my cousin. My cousin was also he left. I left my boss. He left his boss. He started a firm called Templars, and I joined him in 1996. We have been blessed, right? From a law firm of 4 lawyers, we're 104 lawyers. You know, as at the time when I left, right? We're in 3-4 cities in Nigeria. We're in Ghana. We're looking at Nairobi, Kenya. It has become a huge law firm.
Before you continue, it's an interesting name.
Templars.
Templars.
Yeah, defenders.
Fancy yourself knights.
Defenders of justice.
Knights of justice.
Yes, defenders of the
justice.
people. You know, so that was, that's a lot of story, right? So my cousin read the book just before we started, and it was like, Templars. But then he didn't read the book to the end because the Templar story the Knights Templars, their story is a little bit, it's not as clear cut as that. So
a lot of them turned out to be thieves.
Yeah, so you see.
But that's
a
story for different.
We are only on one side of the Templar story. So I was saying that we've been blessed. I'm so proud of what that law firm has become. There are no transactions. We have litigators. We have 3 senior advocates in the firm, and so on and so forth. So we're doing well. But if there's no country, there can be no law firm, right? It is in our enlightened self-interest. We cannot all go and take the plunge, but I'm representing a generation. I'm in my early 50s. I'm one of those, I belong to that generation who still got a sense of what Nigeria was meant to be. School fees for me at King's College was 90 naira a term. With that 90 naira, you go to the bookstore, you come out with your books and stuff. We were in boarding house, we were fed, you know, and we finished, we went to university. Same thing, paid a pittance. And we got to university, and today I can stand shoulder to shoulder with any of my counterparts in the world. I was trained by my country. It is not the case today. So I spoke to my cousin, my brother, my partner. I said, listen, you know, some of us have to go. And there's this burning passion in me. We need to do something. And we spoke about it, and he said, I'm fine with it. He's still there at the law firm. So I'm confident that that which we started will continue to flourish. And I would always, you know, be grateful to God for the opportunity to have been a part of that success story. But it comes a time in everyone's life where you have to just, you know, you're at the fork in the road, and you say, what am I going to do? Stay in my comfort zone? You know, because really, this is the time where I could have actually I just lounged, you know, and the firm is flourishing, I will flourish. But, you know, there's more to life than, you know, just gravy train. You know what I mean? And so we agreed, and I spoke to my partners, you know, guys, I have to go. This is something I need to do. And I got their blessing, and they're very supportive of my. And people, I tell people, they think that it was cosmetic. We just say, oh, Louis retired. I'm done with law.
You're done?
Law practice, I'm done. Project Nigeria is very important. Otherwise, we will have no country. Kayla, are you seeing your country? You wake up every morning. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? So I'm early 50s. We have to fix this, to turn this place around. We need like 30 years. I tell you. We need, so some of us, not everybody, what we need is that those of us who venture out, right? For those of us who venture out, what we need from Kayla, who has remained in her comfort zone, is just support. We need encouragement. You know, so if you look around, I'm sure you can identify some of us who have left, who have said, we are going to do this. And sometimes you look at us and say, are they okay? Is it crazy? What are you doing with those people? But those people are the people who are making the rules. They are making policy. We are sitting down at home. No, we have to go there so that we can turn the tide, change the narrative, change the direction of travel. Do you know how many Nigerians have gone to Canada last year? Something wrong. Something's really wrong. I'm
going to close by asking you a question I ask a lot of people who are running for, actually, yes, actually people who are running for governorship that I always ask this question. If it doesn't work out,
you keep on trying. If I don't become governor, most unlikely, but if I don't become governor, right, there's a party to build. There's Labour Party, as you can see, still in need of hand-holding. So you go there, we go on. Because I was speaking with the chairman of INEC the other day, and he keeps on saying this. Internal party issues are the bane of Nigeria's democracy. You understand? So we need to, those of us, I'm not, political harlotry is not what I plan to indulge in. I have joined Labour Party. I chose to deliberately because I saw that the objectives of that party align with mine. So I'm there. So if for any reason, you know, very unlikely, I don't become governor, we'll go back to the party and then there'll be a next time, right?
I want to thank you very much, Mr. Olumide, for being with us on
much.
Political Paradigm, and good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank
and we wish you all the best.
By God's grace. You come to Benin.
I will.
Inauguration is in November.
All right. So we're planning for November. We have been speaking with Mr. Olumide Akpata, Nigerian legal practitioner, politician, and governorship candidate for the Edo governorship elections under the Labour Party. Please join the conversation on channelstv.com. Leave your comments there, respectfully, of course, and join us as we keep asking until the accountability question is answered. I'm Kayla Megwa. See you next time.